This time, it's about Japan. The issue is whether the Ishiba administration truly has concrete measures to address the crises that Japan is currently facing. If things continue as they are, Japan might sink entirely. At such a critical juncture, when genuine politicians need to take control of Japan's fate, we are left questioning the competence of the current administration. Many people harbor significant dissatisfaction with the Ministry of Finance. One could say that Japanese politics is being controlled by the ministry's agenda, leading to many Japanese citizens becoming poorer. Specifically, real wages have not risen for a long time. Whenever the economy seems to improve slightly, the consumption tax is increased, causing another economic downturn. This has been the cycle, making life increasingly difficult for the Japanese people. In the Showa era, it was not uncommon for families to have stay-at-home housewives. Now, however, many people find it challenging to make ends meet unless both partners work. This indicates that the Ministry of Finance and the Japanese government as a whole have failed to implement effective measures. Even regarding policies to address the declining birth rate, the results have been minimal. The current approach isn't working. However, bureaucrats and civil servants tend to continue doing things the same way unless directed otherwise. Large organizations generally operate like this. Juniors rarely reject the practices established by their seniors. Thus, if we continue to rely on bureaucratic leadership, the situation will deteriorate further. It's up to politicians to bring about change. If the Ministry of Finance is the problem, then the government must appoint a strong finance minister, someone with the knowledge and ability to stand on equal footing with ministry bureaucrats. This applies not only to the Ministry of Finance but to all ministries. However, looking at the appointments under the Ishiba administration, it doesn't seem like they've selected individuals capable of negotiating with bureaucrats as equals. For example, in foreign affairs, are they choosing people with knowledge, experience, and a track record? I don't think so. When such individuals are not selected, politicians merely serve as rubber stamps, approving whatever the bureaucrats suggest. This leads to no substantial changes. Even conscientious public servants are likely frustrated, thinking, why doesn't someone take action? While criticizing civil servants often garners public support, we shouldn't forget that many of them work diligently to keep Japan running. From observing government affairs, I am more inclined to respect how well Japan's civil servants perform their duties. However, as mentioned earlier, they struggle to change established practices on their own. They follow precedents set by their predecessors. This is why they need strong political leadership, someone who can say, we're doing things differently from now on. Conscientious bureaucrats would likely welcome such leadership because it absolves them of responsibility and allows them to adapt to new directions. Without such leadership, the status quo prevails. If the Ministry of Finance is the problem, then we need a strong finance minister. To address the declining birth rate, we need someone with expertise in that field to overhaul existing methods. Appointing inappropriate individuals to critical positions, such as former idols, is absurd. While some may argue that being a former idol shouldn't automatically disqualify someone, it's clear that there are far more suitable candidates for such important roles. For example, in foreign affairs, which requires extensive knowledge and regular information gathering, there must be better qualified individuals. Watching Ishiba's appointments, I feel he has no real sense of the crises Japan is facing. Let's turn to the main topic, foreign residents in Japan. Here's a chart showing the total number of foreign residents in Japan and their countries of origin. The largest group is Chinese, followed by Koreans, Vietnamese, Filipinos, and Brazilians. However, this varies by region. For example, in Aichi Prefecture, the largest group is Brazilians, followed by Vietnamese, whose numbers have been steadily increasing. While the proportions of Chinese and Filipinos have remained relatively stable, Aichi has a distinctively large Brazilian population. Foreign residents often gather where there are existing communities of their compatriots, further increasing their numbers. Currently, there are about 3.5 million foreign residents in Japan, including roughly 300,000 in Aichi Prefecture. This significant presence influences economic activities. For example, when I lived in Shanghai, there were around 40,000 Japanese residents, and at its peak, including tourists and short-term visitors, there were said to be about 100,000 Japanese in Shanghai. This created a thriving community with businesses catering exclusively to Japanese customers, such as grocery stores and restaurants. Similarly, in Japan, the growing foreign communities enable businesses to cater exclusively to them. For instance, in Aichi, with over 50,000 Brazilians, businesses targeting only Brazilians are viable. The same applies to Vietnamese, Chinese, Filipinos, and Koreans. However, the economic benefits to Japan are limited, as the money often circulates within these communities. While foreign residents do pay some taxes, their economic activities often bypass Japanese businesses and tax systems. There are also issues related to tax evasion and illegal activities facilitated by foreign payment systems like Alipay, which make it difficult for Japanese authorities to monitor transactions. For instance, there have been cases of illegal taxi services and scrap copper theft involving foreign networks. Such activities undermine the fairness of Japan's tax system and hurt law-abiding businesses and citizens. Returning to the Ishiba administration, the question remains, is it seriously addressing these pressing issues? From their appointments and actions, it doesn't seem like they are. It's time for them to appoint capable individuals who can tackle these challenges effectively.